Hello viewers, on our See the Best of Ghana episode, we are now in the OSU Castle. Let's go see what we have in the OSU Christiansburg Castle. This is the OSU Castle. To help us do today's tour in the OSU Castle, I have a great man here who knows all the history and the story about the OSU Castle, and he's going to tell us his name and what is so unique about the OSU Castle. Hello, sir. Please, can you tell us your name?
My name is Benjamin.
Awesome. And what can we expect today from OSU Castle?
Here was formerly a trade post. It later became a slave castle, then to a presidential seat of government.
Okay.
So trees were attached. And this castle wasn't also built just by one colonial master. It was built by 3 colonial masters.
Okay.
Yeah. But I started from scratch by the Danish. Then partly went to the hands to the Portuguese, then came back to the Danish again, then to the British. Okay. Before we gained independence from them.
Okay. So, hey, we just started our tour, so you can start whatever you have for us today.
The first phase of this castle was first built by the Danish in 1661. As I said, from scratch, it was started by the Danish people. So the first floor offices of this building, like this, the one in front of us that we are looking at now, the first floor offices, and those were offices built in that staircase. That's the first phase of this castle, started by the Danish in 1661. The adjoining buildings on the right-hand side and the left-hand side wasn't part of it initially, same as the second floor over there wasn't part of it. I just want you to have a clear picture of what was started at the earlier part, the 1661. 1661, yeah, 1661. Yeah, that's the earlier part of this castle, started by the Danish people. So as time goes on, as initially, it was all about trading. Trading between them and the local people got expanded that this initial warehouses over there was getting sufficient for them to use to trade with them. So they decided to build an extension of warehouses. The first extension of warehouses started at this side. That black gate that we're looking at, they built this into one big warehouse. It's moved towards that side, there are another 2 houses over there. All extended by the Danish, joined the one that the last extension of the houses was done at this side. All the houses now at this side was extended by the Danish to join the one that initially built in 1661, there's 1791. And the interesting thing is that all the buildings that we're looking at on top of these houses wasn't extended by the Danish people. So the Danish people originally built all the grand warehouses that we're looking at all over. And just the first floor of this over in this staircase. That's what was built by the Danish people. And the 3 temples that we walked through over the 1790 also constructed by the Danish people. And this water reservoir also constructed by the Danish. We also started the Portuguese for some reason. When the Portuguese took over this castle, they decided to build a chapel. This building that we're looking at on top of this house, that's a chapel over there, extended by the Portuguese. They stayed in this castle from 1679 until 1683. They decided to sell this castle. The Danish people came back again and bought this castle from the Portuguese from 1683. They took over this castle. It was then that they later got involved in the slavery or buying of slaves from this colony. So the Danish people started buying slaves from this colony, but then before they used available land over here to construct warehouses. So they have no option than to convert some of the warehouses into temporary prisons before they later took their time to construct underground prisons outside to keep slaves inside. So this some of these warehouses was initially converted to a temporary prison for the holding of slaves. So they continued till slavery was abolished. Then they went back to their normal trading. Then later got involved in farming. They started planting some stuff over, then exporting it to other countries. Till 1850, that they decided to sell this castle to the British. The British paid £10,000 to the Danish people in buying this castle from them. So as I said, the British stayed in this castle from 1850. This is the reason we decided to build additional structures attached to what the Danish and the Portuguese built. This edifice that we are looking at over there in 1921 was erected by the British. It was meant for education purpose. The one over in 1950 also extended by the British. It joins the credential hall, all extended by the British, and it joins some part of the chapel. The section over there where staffs were prepared to serve the governor and the visitors at the dining hall, and there's a meeting room also. It goes over here to join the one that was extended on top of what the Danish built in 1661. That's the second floor over there. Also extended by the British in 1950. That's the residence created by the British for their governor and his wife. And over here to 1950, also extended by the British. It was an apartment to be used by the visitors that they were used to go to this castle. Among other people that they once stayed over was Prince Charles of England. He once stayed here in 1950 when he came to visit and prior to for we gained independence from them. And after we gained independence from them, Queen Elizabeth II visited this country in 1961. That's the first time in Ghana. This is where she was hosted by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. She stayed here for a period of 9 days, where she toured some part of the country before she went back to the United Kingdom.
Wow.
So the British stayed in this castle from 1850 until 1957. That is there that we gained our independence from them. And from 1957, here was supposed to be the official seat of government by President Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. It's continued by other successful presidents until 2013. So the presidency was moved from here to the Jubilee House, the new presidential palace. That's how it goes. So from trade post to slave trade, from slave trade to presidential period, that's how it goes.
Okay.
And apart from the British government, Danish governors that we had in this castle, the Portuguese governors and the British governors, one Ghanaian also once served as a governor of this castle. His name was Nana Asemini. Nana Asemini happens to be the chief or the leader of the local people that we call the Ikwamu people. I don't know whether you heard about the Ikwamu town before, the Kusumbu town. Yeah. Initially came here, pretended as if he was a trader. His plan was to attack them. So his plan was that when he comes here to trade with them, he would then took advantage to study the security system, to strategize to know how to attack them. So when he came over here, he realized that standing over here to trade with them wasn't enough for him to get to build the security system. He was still living within that very town, trading with them, and also starting to study their plans and other stuff. A news came out that the Danish governor by then was recruiting some of the local people as their workers, some as their cleaners, some as their cook and stuff. He took advantage and approached the governor, made a proposal to him that he wanted to be part of the workers that they were employing. So luckily now the governor agreed to recruit him to be part of their workers, specifically to serve as their cook. Whilst an asked meaning was working there within this castle, he took advantage to study the security system, learn their language, and study how they were trading for a period of 1 year. So the little amount of money that they paid within that period, he used some of the money to trade with them before going out, and he was able to buy some few guns and gunpowder from the Danish. They never knew that he was planning to attack them. They sold it to him. He took those few guns and gunpowder to his town in Akosobo, the Kwamu township. He was able to select about 80 strong warriors. He traded with them. They came here 1691, initially pretended as if that they were all traders. They ended up attacking the Danes. They actually defeated them. The governor by then survived through that fighting by escaping from the bullet wound in his right arm and his right leg by jumping through one of the windows of the administration office. He jumped and fell behind the castle, went a little deep into the woods. He managed to swim from here to the Jamestown port, where he seek refuge at Fort Pasha. He was saved and he survived. Then a few weeks later, he sailed back to his kingdom in Denmark, told his king what happened in this castle. Nana Asemini just took over this castle. He then declared himself as the governor of this castle. He started wearing the then past uniform and badges of the past governor. He used this castle to trade with people from other continents and people from his own country. He became very popular and a successful trader. 1 year later, after he took over this castle, 1692, the Danish king sent a delegation to come and retrieve this castle from Nana Asemini in the form of dialogue. That delegation was led by the same governor who survived through that fighting. And through that dialogue, Nana Asemini demanded 50 marks of gold from the Danish people for him to return this castle back to them. In addition, he refused to give them the old keys of this castle, which is the keys of some of these warehouses that we're looking at, and the keys of some of the administration offices over there. All because Nana Asemini wanted to do something
There is more for us to see, so I want you to subscribe to this channel and continue to watch as we showcase more places in Ghana to you and other parts of Africa. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends.